Hello, my name is Fonija. This presentation will go over CSS, which stands for Cascading Style Sheets. I will explain the basics of CSS to help you start adding style to your web page. In this presentation, I will discuss what is CSS, the benefits of using CSS, the CSS syntax, types of CSS, and I will demonstrate with examples 3 ways how to insert CSS into HTML. So, what exactly is CSS? CSS is a style sheet language used for describing the presentation of a document written in a markup language. It is an application on HTML file that helps to define style and a structured document format. CSS is designed primarily to enable the separation of presentation and content, including aspects such as layout, colors, and fonts. Along with HTML and JavaScript, CSS is a cornerstone technology used by most websites to create visually engaging web pages, user interface for web application, and user interfaces for many mobile applications. What are benefits of using CSS? Some of the benefits of using CSS are that you are able to add style and character to a web page, enable multiple HTML pages to share common formatting, reduce complexity and repetition in the structured content because we don't have to apply all the rules for each element, especially when we work with websites that have multiple pages and files. Display the web page differently depending on the screen size or viewing device. The CSS syntax. This is the basics form of the CSS. The selector points to the HTML elements you want to style. It can be head, paragraph, or background. The declaration block contains one or more declarations separated by semicolons. Each declaration includes a CSS property name and value, separated by a colon. Multiple CSS declarations are separated with semicolons, and declaration blocks are surrounded by curly braces. There are 3 ways of inserting a style sheet: external, internal, and inline. With an external style sheet, you can change the look of an entire website by changing just one file. An external style sheet can be written in any text editor and must be saved with a CSS extension. The external CSS file should not contain any HTML tags. Each HTML pages must include a reference to external style sheet file inside the link element inside the head section. This way, any change we make on CSS file will apply to all the HTML files that are linked to the CSS. I will demonstrate this in a little bit with example. An internal style sheet may be used if one single HTML page has a unique style. The internal style is defined inside the style element inside the head section. An inline style may be used to apply a unique style for a single element in any part of the web page. To use inline style, add the style attribute to the relevant element. The style attribute can contain any CSS property. Inline styles are defined with the style attribute of the relevant element. I will share with you all the links where you can find these HTML and CSS templates. I created a new file to demonstrate the 3 ways CSS can be inserted and how this changes display in a web page. I use Visual Studio Code to write the code. First, for each project, which is in my case is the final project, we have to create CSS file. I have created everything. I'll go over with you. I created a CSS file which I named FP for final project style.css. Remember, the CSS file should not contain any HTML tags. It starts with body and declaration blocks and surrounded by curly braces. The selector points to the HTML elements you want to style. It can be background, head, subhead, and paragraph. The declaration block contains one or more declarations separated by semicolons. Each declaration includes the CSS property name and value separated by a colon. In order to apply all this style to our HTML file, we have to link each of them. And this is the link. I created 3 files: final project external, final project internal, and final project inline. Also, I add another HTML file with an unordered list just to show you how each one will display, and I can have everything organized. As I said before, we have to add an link to each of our HTML files that we want to apply the external CSS style. It should be placed under the title in head before body. Just make sure to link to the external file we created. In my case is FP style CSS, and if you click here it will show you follow link. Otherwise it's not going to work if you put a wrong name here or a wrong letter. I created an HTML file which I named final project external file. On this file I add the HTML element, and I will just apply the external link from the external style from the CSS file. After that I created a final project HTML file where I apply an internal CSS element. This is a better way to do it when we need to change the style only for a specific part or specific file into our web page. The internal style is defined inside the style element inside the head section, and with internal style, the same as the external style, it starts with body and the declaration blocks and surrounded by curly braces. The last one is I created the final project HTML inline file, HTML file, where I will apply a unique style just for a single element into the file. Inline styles are defined with the style attribute of the relevant element. And here are the results. So here is my unordered list, the external file, internal, on which I changed the, sorry, this is the inline, so this is the internal, on which I changed the background color, the head color, the subhead color, and the paragraph text color. And the way how we can change the color, we can just click here and we'll pop up all the colors. And here is the inline style, which I changed the header, subhead text color and the subhead background color, and I changed the paragraph color. And if you see, the head didn't change because it will apply the external code. What style will we apply if we have all three ways applied on the pages? So an inline style has the highest priority and will override external and internal style and the browser defaults. Thank you for watching my presentation. If you have any question, please comment below. And don't forget, practice is the best way to learn. Thank you.